Hey everybody. So yeah, yesterday we got started on creating the dictionary that's going to have basically the light ID as the key and then an object that has a form and a subscriptions as the value. I found that these like using these dictionaries is very, very convenient, especially in the context of templates, but they tend to be kind of like people generally don't like using a dictionary. The concept is a bit perplexing for people. But then what happens is once you start using dictionaries, you just fall in love with them because they are incredibly useful and all that. It's very similar like when you first start coding and you kind of learn like how to use strings and numbers and integers, whatever language you're using, and then the first time that you have to use a an array, and you're just kind of like, man, why can't I just have a bunch of variables? Why do I have to have this array thing? I don't want to think about that. But then once you get comfortable with arrays, or you can't understand why everyone is just not the simplest kind of thing. It's one of those weird learning things where when you can't understand it, it seems impossible, and then when you can understand it, it seems impossible that other people can't understand it. It's a very interesting concept. So, I would try to, if you aren't comfortable with dictionaries or maps, um, there, everyone was like have that in your mind that everybody at one point was very, very uncomfortable with those things, and that I've never met a person who forced themselves to understand that and then been like, oh, those suck. There are definitely things that you learn, and then some people like it after you learn it, and some people don't. Dictionaries, arrays, those sorts of things are not those things. Once you understand it, you'll like it. So that's my advice to you. Um, I was looking at yesterday's video, and I said I was probably going to go into the actual template today and try to use my new dictionary. So just to recap, basically what happens is a light has a form associated with it, but um, I need to get away from that for various reasons, and I won't get into those now. But I have to get away from those things, and a so I created a dictionary, and so now I want to shift, instead of using forms the lights form that's been attached. I want to use the dictionary as I move over from using those, and eventually I want to delete it from the thing. So basically, there's a ton of them, right? So light.form here, all of these need to be changed, which is a bit of a pain. So I'm just going to go to the top of this, and I'm just going to do a control F on light.form. And I'm hoping that this is the number one. Yeah, so there's 14 of them. This is number one. Now, what I really want it to not be, I don't want it to be light.form. I want it to be the name of the dictionary, and I don't remember what I named that. Um, form data dict. Form data dict. So let me copy that. And then I'm going to hit Alt and the back key to get me back to where I was at. And that is not where I was at, I don't think. I do not know what's happening. All right. So I don't know what happened there. But anyways, this is where I'm at. I mean, back into the light manager component template. And basically, I just want to say that to use this light form dict, and then its key is the ID. So it's going to be the light.id. And that value is form. So it's the same thing. So this is for the name. Okay, so let's just hit save. Just make sure that lights work. And lights, unfortunately, are a bit of a pain because you can't see them on their own, and they need something to interact with so that you can see them. It has to be a Fong, and thank you, Mr. Fong. We learned yesterday that a person who had the last name of Fong was the one who invented that. I hope he got something for that other than our thank you. But I mean, thank you is better than nothing. Um, but there we go. So the light worked, and let's see if the name works. Hello. guess the best way to check that is, I don't know. I guess if we add another light, height. Yeah, it looks like. Oh, and I guess we can look in our console log and make sure nothing broke. Yeah, I don't see anything breaking. So broken. So so that's good. So this is basically what we want to do. We want to replace all of these light. We want there to be 0 light forms, and we want instead to have these. And it might be very simple. It might literally all be those. I have never, like literally, when I see people do a find and replace all, I swear I've seen so many horrible, just absolutely terrible career ending and company ending errors come from that. It's just, you know, you just got to step through them and look at them all and make sure that they all make sense. You know, you find and replace all seems like a great idea, and you are really, really taking a risk if you do that. You know, it's like one of those risks that I don't know exactly how to formulate it, but there's always some weird thing. Okay, so we have 0 of those. We'll go ahead and add a mesh. We will thank you to our friend Mr. Fong. Create a Fong material. I'm so glad though that this Fong guy actually got credit for it, you know. Like so many things. I hope he did do it. I'm gonna just take it on faith that guy did it. I hope he was actually the person who did it, but and I hope he gets credit for his work. Anyways, yeah, so that's that. That is all this form. That was very simple to do. Now we still have some over here. What are we on time? I feel like we're good. Okay, so we're good on time. So let's see. What we really want to do is get rid of any of the Control F, a lot of the dot form, not dot from, but dot forms. So like here's a good example. So this is where we initially assign it. So that's probably got to be the last thing. And then I think dot form is going to not necessarily. Okay, so this, when did we add it to our ThreeJS? Okay, so this actually is not going to be a simple one. So I'm actually going to have to assign this to something called a form, and then assign that. I think I could actually say const form equals, and as long as we're not using, yeah. So basically we're just doing a double assign this to this, and this one will go away. So this is just a short-term thing. And so now I just don't even need the light item form. I could just use the form. And so this is interesting. This is a closure. So like this form exists at this time, but this code won't run until the value changes. So the value of this, there's a reference to this even later on, and that's like something that is kind of weird. But and then I don't think we need to do that. Form value name. I don't know. Oh, and it's upset. This is one of those strange things that's like the compiler. This has nothing to do with the change we just made. The compiler is saying that, hey, light item may not exist. Which is really weird because so it's saying light item even though it will have a closure to it. So as light item, light interface. No, I don't really understand this. Oh, it's saying that name is not a required field on light item. So this is weird, right? Let me remove that just so future me doesn't get confused from that. So light, that's so weird. What? String null or undefined. Um, so I don't know if it's complaining about light item not existing or name possibly not existing. It's a very weird thing. Let's see if that makes it go away. No. Is it upset that this one might not exist? Oh, that's what it's upset about. So does this make it go away? Interesting. So it's saying that the form value name doesn't necessarily have to exist. That it could be, yeah, it could be that. And what's really interesting is that it did not care about that when it was part of light item form. And I don't know what the difference is on that, but that is strange. So am I going to have the same problem? Here. Oh, so now here apparently I did have that same problem, and I had to put a question. Well, I don't know. Let's just do this. So the form does exist. Same problem. I don't think this will fix that problem. Let's see. So my light type could be either be, let me go look at that definition. Gosh darn it. Let me look at my interfaces. That's what I was kind of hoping to see is the interfaces, but light interface. So the light type, okay, so it can only be those two. And unfortunately I didn't make that a type. Light types is equal to point light or spotlight, semicolon, and then light types. Okay, I don't know if that's going to solve our problem, but it's probably something that needed to be done. Oh, it's going to be upset about that light because I have not imported it yet. I guess it just automatically imported it for me just now. So I guess what I could do over here is, I don't see how this is going to hurt anything. I'm actually very interested because I probably would not do this in a job. And and I don't know why. It just like doesn't feel like, it feels like it might have bad unintended consequences. So, and that's kind of the point of this whole project, is to sort of experiment with things I wouldn't do in a job environment. So I'm gonna go with that. Okay, so light item form. Now it's, oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna say what, I don't know why I didn't do this to begin with, but that was because I did not have this variable to begin with. Um, so so that is weird because I just said, hey, well, if yeah, that form angle exists, and it's gonna be upset because it could be out to type string. Wait, what? So it thinks that, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, string. So it's saying if form value angle, if it exists, and if it's, or if it's zero. Or if it's equal to zero. Oh, okay, so yeah, they're saying, okay, if it's not falsy, or if it's zero, then take this. Oh, okay, so now this is that known unknown thing. So you have to say as unknown, and then I wonder, can I do this angle str? And even if it was a number, I don't think parsing floating a number is a problem. Um, and then, uh, all right, so let's go ahead and it's really weird about that. That is, oh, okay, so angle is specific to the spotlight. So let's go ahead and play around with that. Just make sure that that code is still working. 100 and 100 and fung and light. Move it out to 2 and we'll change it into a point light. Okay, why can't I get out of that? Something must have just broke. Yeah. Let's go up to the top here. Whatever it is still breaking. Cannot read property of form. Oh, so it's upset in the template on line 30. What is there? So it's saying that that form template does not exist. It doesn't seem like there would be a timing issue there. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's just back out of the changes in here. I'm just going to hit Control Z just to see. I think probably when I was checking to see if things worked, I didn't. Let's see. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, so I think we've undone far enough. Okay, so basically I maybe did not test well enough in here. So let's go ahead and actually I guess I don't even need to do that because it was pretty obvious when it broke. that's even more broken now. So it does not like that. Doesn't like that one bit. So what was interesting about that is we did test it with a single thing. Oh, with the name, and it seemed fine. Okay, so we're back to the beginning. Just make sure there's nothing strange going on here. Just this is more of a sanity check than anything else. Yeah, so stuff isn't broken. Okay, so now let's Control Z and let's just do the name only. Okay, add light, show edit form. Oh yeah, now it's completely broken. So it does not like that form data dictionary. So let's just do this. Okay, so basically if edit, and then I'm just going to do this. Turn it form data dictionary. I know the object actually exists, but it might just be an empty string. Okay, so it does exist, and then so let's go ahead and light. Okay, so that exists, and then ID. What if I do this to? I mean, what is it? JSON. Lowercase JSON. So now I'm just trying to debug and figure out what in the world is the malfunction there. So we're not seeing anything in here. So I was expecting to see some. So the object exists. So that is, oh, dot form. Okay, let's try that. It may not be able to turn that into a JSON string though. I think I've been having that problem in general. Okay, nothing. Okay, let's just see if that is. Light, add light. Okay, yeah, so that is something. Int controls. Now that's just going to be another object. Let's see. Is it name? Can I do that? Maybe it's like this. Name. No, wrong one. Okay, so that's something, and then is it value? Yeah. Wrong one. Okay, so maybe did I do that wrong? I cannot remember what I had in here. I feel like that's what I had. Oh, well, now let's see what happens if I change this to a, oh yeah, it just breaks everything. Cannot read property of undefined reading form, and that's upset on line 33, which is this. It's saying that something is undefined. I don't know what the undefined part is, though. Let's look back at this thing. Undefined reading form. Back into here. So it's saying that this, it doesn't seem to be able to find this, that this is, well, undefined reading form. So I feel like it's saying that this is undefined. Form dict light ID. All right, let's go look at the mesh version of this application. So funny, my dog just got up and walked out. I think she's sick of it. She's sick of it. Mesh manager. So there I said form group is equal to form data dict mesh ID dot form. I feel like that's fairly similar to, I guess what we can do is we can go to 100% and then split right, and then let's go to light manager, form data dict light ID dot form. Yeah, it's identical. And it does not like that. It doesn't like it at all. And see, it's still like throwing errors. It's saying that that form, when it's trying to render that form, it's not finding anything. That form is gone. I'm curious, is it just because it was fine, right? Like it's perfectly happy with that. If I change like something else in here, does it get upset? Okay, so it is something specific to when we change the light type. Oh, and it's because the it's because the ID is changed. When you change it from a point to a spotlight, it actually creates a brand new object in ThreeJS, and that is not what happens in Mesh. When you change the type, you maintain the old ID. So that means there's a new ID. So I change this to, see, I wonder if this changes up here. Yeah, see, now that changed to 15, and now there is not a 15 form for it. So that is a conundrum. Yeah, this is like another one of those edge cases that came because the way light works is slightly different. It used to be that whenever my ID changed, I mean, whenever my ID, no matter what I change I made, the ID would stay the same. But now the ID is changing. So I'm going to have to come up with a new way of cleaning this up. So something along the lines of like, man, this is really good one. Okay, so it's like something along so the item ID is this is weird. Yeah, so basically I'm gonna have to come up with something else to key off of for my lookup. My lookup is not gonna, I can't use ID to create these lookups anymore. Oh, and I think I do have, okay, so if I don't, let's go ahead and close that. And will it go back to, yeah, it went back to its normal side. Okay, so basically, okay, we'll get rid of this. And I believe, okay, so let me do this. And then this is actually going to be in the long term very good for me, because this would be an issue with importing as well. Okay, so what's weird to me now is, okay, so in my code, in the TypeScript here, when I changed this from a, it's kind of wild that things didn't break anyways, because when I create a new light, then the form ID had to, well, the form ID is updating, because there's that. Update forms. I'm guessing that's happening up here. Oh yeah, I have a huge risk of, so update forms. Patch value, and this is where I end up updating the ID. Yeah, and at this point, I probably also, before I patch this value, so oh man, okay, okay. So here I check to see if the form, if the light items form exists, but what I really need to be checking is if the dictionary for that form exists. And if the dictionary for that form doesn't exist, then I need to create a new dictionary value. Well, okay, so I know we have the previous one, so then, okay, so we have the previous one, so basically, so basically what has to happen is right here, I need to be checking to see if the dictionary value form that ID exists. If it doesn't, and if it doesn't exist, which it would be the exact situation if I was importing, right? The dictionary value would not exist. Then if the dictionary value doesn't exist, I need to probably, yeah, that, okay, so I need to check to see if the dictionary value doesn't exist. If it doesn't, then I need to do this, which means one of two things has happened. Either I've gotten a form that I don't know anything about and have never known anything about, or a light that I don't know anything about, I've never known anything about, so like I've imported it or something. Or alternatively, it's changed IDs, and I will have the previous ID. So this is the next place that I need to make changes here. So let me just put a comment for myself right here. This is check for ID in dictionary. Doesn't exist. If it doesn't exist, I guess we'll just be update the key, since we don't really have importing. And that's that. So yeah, bit again by the changing IDs and 35 minutes. Sorry, everybody. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.